The Autel Evo Nano is one of several recently announced drones from Autel, including the Evo Nano Plus, the Evo Lite and the Evo Lite Plus. We've recently received a pre-production Autel Evo Nano here at DJI, so here's what's included in the Autel Evo Nano Premium Bundle Kit and some of our early thoughts on flying the drone along with some sample footage so you can see what kind of quality you can expect. The TLDR version, though, is that this seems to be a pretty nifty little drone. Falling under 250 grams, it escapes many more extensive drone regulations worldwide. It flies great and offers some impressive wind resistance performance. Once the firmware is complete with all of the promised features, this one seriously gives DJI a run for its money. The Autel Evo Nano is technically a competitor to the DJI Mini 2 and the Hubsan Zino Mini SE, although it's also sort of not. While it falls into the same weight category, it's aimed more towards severe photographers and filmmakers who want a tiny drone and demand more advanced features. Features like obstacle avoidance, which neither of the other drones mentioned possess. That's probably the most significant selling point of the Autel Evo Nano. It has front, rear, and underside collision avoidance sensors. While flying, these also act as active sensors to let you know right on your smartphone display when you're getting too close to something in front, behind, or below you. And it works well, too, actively preventing you from flying forward or backward if it detects that something is in the way. To get the most speed out of the drone, though, you do have to kick it up into sport mode and disable the collision avoidance sensors. After all, even if the sensors were enabled, at 30 miles per hour, stopping quickly enough would be tricky. With the collision avoidance sensors turned on, I managed to get up to about 20 miles per hour. Once they were disabled, I got up to just over 27 miles per hour, but there were some pretty strong winds. In ideal conditions under no wind, Autel says it should hit 15 meters per second, around 33 miles per hour. This is, by far, the smallest drone I've ever flown, having typically stuck to relatively large hexacopters like the DJI F550. If you've never used a less than 250 grams drone before, they're a fantastic addition to the tool bag for location photographers. Being able to whip out a drone to shoot behind the scenes for social media, blogs, etc., is pretty invaluable, especially when you can leave it hovering in the air following you. While the Autel Evo Nano Premium comes with its shoulder bag, the drone and controller are relatively small. The drone itself is smaller than most lenses you'd stick into your bag, and the controller feels very much more like a game's console controller rather than the significant clunky RC controllers that some of us might be used to. So, it's easy to stuff in your backpack with the rest of your camera gear to use at a moment's notice. And because the controller and drone batteries can all charge off Type-C USB, you can leave them charging from a power bank in your bag in between uses to make sure they stay topped up and ready to go when needed. That being said, the battery life seems quite reasonable. Officially, you'll get 28 minutes of flight time in ideal conditions with no wind. Until the 20 miles per hour winds, I was getting closer to around 24 minutes per drone battery. The controller's battery lasted for all 3 drone batteries before the app started yelling at me that the controller was getting low and I should land soon. Speaking of the home position, it can be reset mid-flight. By default, it's the location from which you take off. If you hit the home button, it'll fly back to the same spot to land. But if, like me, you often fly and walk simultaneously, filming as you physically make your way towards a destination, then you don't want to have to walk back to your starting point to go collect your drone. So, you can reset the home position to the current operator's job to make it come to you when you hold the home button. The footage coming out of the drone is rather good, although YouTube compression does it no favors. It would be nice if there were a higher bitrate option than 100 MB/s, even with H.265 encoding. That being said, 100 MB/s is perfectly fine for many subjects you might point the camera at. There's just a lot of fine detail in leafless Scottish forests this time of year, and when the drone's flying quickly, you do lose a little of it. There are also no color profile options available yet. This is something else I'd like to see. That would be fantastic if we could choose an excellent flat profile with low contrast and saturation that we can correct and grade in the post. For stills, it's not a problem because you're able to shoot DNG RAW files and process them exactly how you wish, but for video, or shooting JPG, a flat profile would be beneficial. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, you must press the like and subscribe button. And let us know your valuable feedback by commenting below the video.